So this is a short explanation on how the notes of the fretboard are laid out. It might seem like there's just a patchwork of notes, but there is a pattern. In terms of the notes that exist in the Western music system, there are 12 pitches, just like there are 12 frets on the guitar neck. Each of those frets has got a different pitch attached to it. And there are 7 note names. And the names that we have are the letters A through to G. So A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then the series repeats. So the immediate question is, what do we call the notes in if we've got 12 pitches but only 7 note names, how do we name the remaining ones? And the answer is that we give them the way that music theory's evolved. There's a way of designating the notes that are not attached to a letter name, and that is they're referred to as either C sharp, this one would be C sharp right here, which means the note above C, or D flat, which means the note right below D. Some people find that a good way to remember the difference between sharp and flat is that a sharp thing could be imagined as pointing upwards, and a sharp note is above its natural, and a flat thing, if you flatten something, you sort of push down on it, and a flat note is below its natural note. So that's how we can get 12 note names out of only 7 letters. So the letters always move, the note names always move in a predictable pattern. Out of the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G notes that we have, every note has got 2 frets in between it, apart from E and F and B and C. So you can see wherever we have an E and an F, they are adjacent to each other. It's the next fret. B and C, E and F, B and C. So B is always next to C, and E is always next to F. And we've got E and F, and we've got B and C. They're always next to each other. Every other note has got a space of 2 frets between it. So A to B, 2 frets. D to E, 2 frets. G to A, 2 frets. A to B, 2 frets. B to C, they're right next to each other. C to D, 2 frets. D to E, 2 frets. E and F, right next to each other. F to G, 2 frets. So once you've kind of got in mind that everything is spaced 2 frets apart, except for B and C and E and F, it becomes a lot easier to identify where the next note in the alphabetic series is, wherever you are on the guitar. So you know that if you're on an A, 2 frets towards the body of the guitar, 2 frets higher, is going to be a B. And 2 frets lower is going to be a G. As you go up the letters of the alphabet, the notes go up in pitch. So B is higher than A, and G is lower than A. And the lowest note on each string is the open string, and then every fret that you sound, if you were to hold down the fret and play the note, is going to be a higher pitch as you go up to the top. So that is how the notes work on the fretboard. You'll find that you soon get used to it, even if it seems that to begin with it's just this big kind of grid of all these notes on it, and how you're ever going to remember it. The best way to start is to take one string, and string 1 and string 6 are great ones to start with because they have the same pitches, and play up saying what the name of the note is that you're on, and make sure you're on the right fret. And once you've done that and you've played up and down a couple of times and reaffirmed those names for yourself, there's lots of different activities you can do that help you remember. A really good one is a swamp of words, and that is when you'll see a grid underneath where you've got different words, and you need to spell those words out on the string. So if I'm on string 1, this is the floor string, and the word I'm looking for is fed, that means I have to find F, and then I have to find E, and then I have to find D. If my next word is fade, I have to go to F, and I have to find A, and I have to find D, and I have to find E. And you'd be surprised how quickly this works to help you start getting a sense of where the notes are. And eventually you're going to roll this out to other strings, but if you haven't seen this before, then you're just going to do it on string 1 or string 6. So that is how you're going to start getting a sense of how the fretboard is laid out. It's really important to do this from an early stage because there are lots of things later on in your playing that you're going to want to do which rely on being able to identify notes at different parts of the fretboard. So if you start getting to grips with them now, all of that will be available to you and pretty straightforward.